now we will jump into the next session. Santi has talked us about what we need to do in mobile. Now we will talk about how to do things. Let's change the room. And let me introduce you, if he needs introduction, which is something I'm not sure he needs. Néstor Guerra. He's a well-known speaker. He's an entrepreneur. He's an expert on lean startup, customer discovery. He is mentor also in several programs. Lazarus is one of them. They're upstairs. He also teaches. He's a great guy. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you. I would like to talk about lean startup. So in the last 5 years, hundreds of entrepreneurs start to apply approach to create his business. So it's very interesting what is kind of methodologies and approach created in these last 5 years. And I can tell you that this new approach is just confused in some cases, that is not clear. So my goal today with you is explain what is lean startup in 20 minutes, when and why apply lean startup in our business. So this is a mainly goal. And I can tell you one thing, lean startup is not a miracle. It's not easy. It's easy to talk about lean startup, but it's very complicated to apply lean startup in our organization, or in our business, or in our startup. So I would like to start about lean startup of the definition. What is lean startup? Lean startup, this is a great definition I want to show you. Lean startup is approach to launching business and product based in validated learning, scientific experimentation, and customer iteration. As you can see in this definition, business plan is not inside. One of the things that we have learned in the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, is that in an extremely uncertain environment, when the startups has the situation, business plan is not a good tool. We know that no business plans survive so the first customer contact. Why? Because at the beginning, when we have our idea in our mind, we have hundreds of hypotheses. If one of these hypotheses is not real, the rest of the business plan fail. So the business plan is a great tool and a great system if you have facts, if you have enough certainty in order to create your business. So, but startups, as you know, is typical business with high uncertainty environment. So this is a great definition. This is a definition of Eric Ries. This is one of the fathers of lean startup. But let me show you what is the fundamentals that come from to create a lean startup. And there are 3 bases, 3 columns. The first column, the first concept that creates the lean startup approach is business design. So what is business design? Business design is an approach of Alexander Osterwalder to help us to create our business in a very simple tools. In fact, there are 2 very simple tools. Business model canvas, that's in 9 blocks, we can define the most critical thing of our business. And second one is the value proposition canvas. This is a simple tool to define in 6 blocks what is our value proposition compared with the problem or needs of the customers. So we spend, let me tell you, no more than 1 or 2 days to become your idea in a business model canvas and a value proposition canvas. Why? Because this tool is a description tool. So when an entrepreneur creates his business model canvas and value proposition canvas, they don't have business. They have a poster with posits. And this posits is, again, hypothesis. We don't know. We want, but we don't know right now. So it's very interesting that this is the start point of lean startup, to design your business model and your value proposition. But please, don't spend 3 months of your life to write create a great business plan that's never happened. Because one of the most important things one of the things that the entrepreneur don't have is time and money. So please don't spend your time and money in waste. So this is the first column of the concept of the fundamental that supports lean startup. But the other one is customer development. Customer development is a formal process designed by Steve Blank at Bob Dorff that describes the process to validate your business model. So let me understand more deeply about customer development. So the first step, we talk about customer discovery. Customer discovery is a formal process that helps us to understand the problem of the customer and if we provide a solution that creates value for the customer. But let me tell you one thing. Approximately 50% of the startups try to solve a problem that not exist. So the first great hypothesis that we have is, hey, Néstor, this is a real problem. It's a frequent problem for the customer. This is a very important problem for the customer. And I can tell you that this is one of the first big problems that the startup has. So customer discovery is the process that helps us to define and to understand the problem of the customer, and of course, to understand if our solution creates real value for the customer. This means that solve the problem of the customer. So this is the first step, customer discovery. Second part is customer validation. Customer validation is the formal process to help us to looking for or to have the sales process. So this means have one customer, just one customer. Try to sell your first product, so the first minimal viable product, MVP, for your first customer. So I can tell you one thing. This customer is not normal customer. It's not a usual customer. We call this customer early adopter. Steve Blank named early evangelist because this customer talk with all the customer about your solution. So it's very interesting, this kind of point of view, because if you cannot sell you one product for one customer, you need to iterate, to pivot, and looking for a new problem or looking for a new solution. So this is the second step of the customer development. The third step, we talk about customer creation. What's mean customer creation? It's very simple. Hey, Néstor, you have a problem that is real, you have a solution that solves the current value for the customer, and we have 5, 6, 7 customers that is really happy with my solution. Right now, we need to grow. I don't have a business with 10 customers. We need hundreds, thousands of customers to grow. What is your growth strategy? What is your step to grow? This is the process, customer creation, to validate what is your growth model. And the last one is company building. So it's very interesting. The last part of the process is create your company. You validate what kind of department you need in your business, what kind of areas. You have a different responsibilities areas. You have a CEO, CFO, CMO. Hey, it's very, very interesting. The last thing that the entrepreneur needs to create is a business. The last thing that they create is departments, areas. But usually the entrepreneurs, the first thing that they create is a business, a product, and then looking for the customers. But customer development is a different point of view. So I can tell you one thing. The startups not fail because we have a bad or good product. The startup fail because there are not customers. That's all. Customer. And I know bullshit of products with customers that, yes, there are a lot of problems, but improve day by day the products and have more. And I know a startup with incredible product without customer that disappears. No business without customers. So this is a customer development process. And there are 2 parts in this process. The first part, the mainly goal, is to search the business model, is to validate the first part of the business model. And the second is to execute your business model, to grow and to create your business. In fact, we can explain the customer development with the business model canvas of Alexander Osterwalder. I don't spend time with the explanation of this tool because I know that everyone knows this tool. So the first area is about customer segments and value proposition. Look, customer segment means problems of the customer and needs. And value proposition means the solutions, the products or services that create value for the customer. When we have a real problem and we validate it, and we have a solution that really creates value for the customer, we have in the first statement that is problem-solution fit. We have a problem, a real problem, and we can solve this problem. The second part is we need to validate customer relationship. Customer relationship means what is the strategy and tactics that we need to get customers and to keep the customers. So get customer is very, very important. And next is what is the channel to deliver the product and the services, to deliver the value for the customer, and what is the revenue stream. When we validate these three blocks, we call, the statement that we have is product market fit. Hey, this is a great day for entrepreneurs because, hey, there are a real problem in the market, I have a solution that solves the problem, and I have my first customers. And you see the money. Great day. So next part is, okay, we validate that we have enough key activities, key resources, and key partners to create value for the customer and to grow. And in this part, this statement, we name business model fit. Let me show you now customer development. First step, customer discovery, is a statement to validate the problem-solution fit. The second, customer validation, is product market fit. The third is to validate the growth model. And the last one is a business model fit. This is a different point of view to create business. The first step is to understand the problem of the customer. It's not create product and services. So this is the second column that supports the lean startup approach. But what is the third? The third is what we call agile development. What is agile development? Agile development is a methodology that creates the product iterative and incremental way. So please don't create your product perfect at the beginning. Create a minimum version we call minimum viable product or minimum viable services, and try to validate the value for your customer as soon as possible. And we incremental the functionalities or characteristic of service or product depend on the feedback of the customer, but not the opinion. We need to understand the behaviors of the customers because the people really love to talk about the business and ideas. I want to integrate in your product a chat. Why not? We want to integrate filters for the pictures. The customer really want to give us opinions, but we don't need opinions. We need behaviors. We need to understand what is the real behavior of the customer when they are using our product or services. And that's all. This is the three columns or three concepts that support lean startup: business design, customer development, and agile development. But Néstor, this is a very conceptual definition. What is the real day-by-day of a lean startup? I want to show you with a simple picture. What is the day-by-day for the entrepreneurs? It's very simple. Here you have. First day, we are going to define your business model and your value proposition with a simple tools. This is a tools of Alexander Osterwalder. So we become your ideas in an I block in the business model canvas and a 6 block in the value proposition canvas. Then we are going to extract, to identify your hypothesis in your business model and in your value proposition. Next, we are going to prioritize. We are going to understand what is the more critical hypothesis that we have in our business model. Next, we're going to design experiments. Design experiments is very important because it's the way to looking for the facts, to have the facts that validate or not our business model. So this means that we need to get out of the building, go out looking for the customer and do experiments with real customer, not with your mother. Your mother is not a customer. Your mother loves you, but not as a customer. So Go out to the building and validate with a real customer your hypothesis. One of the simple tests or experiments could be, for example, interviews, observation, but maybe in the next stage, the experimentation will be more complex. And in that case, we need to define a more complex and difficult experiments. In that case, we call MVPs. But MVP is not a product. MVP, minimum viable product, is experiment to learn. Lean startup is talking about learn fast, to understand what is the real important thing of my business with a real customer as soon as possible. This is the really goal of Lean Startup. So in this case, go out to the building and understand the behavior of the customer. And this is very important because the behaviors become a metrics. And we need to understand the metric to analyze and to understand if we can validate or invalidate our assumptions or hypotheses. So that's all. That's Lean Startup. And I can tell you one thing. If you have a startup and you spend time to deliver your product, maybe you are wasting your time. Focus on your customer. This is very important. And you know, the life is too short to create product that nobody wants. Believe me. And it's easy to spend 1 year or 2 years of your life to create incredible products that at the end of the day, nobody wants. And this is a dramatic situation that's the life of entrepreneurs. But okay, this is very simple to understand. I want to show you a simple picture that describes this approach very simple. Look, first, design your business model and value proposition. Second, extract your hypothesis. Third, design your experiments. Fourth, inside of the loop of Lean Startup, do you remember the loop of Lean Startup? Build, measurements, and learn. Build your experiment, get measurements of the result of experiment. If we don't have metric, if we don't have data, we don't have good decisions. And third, learn. It's difficult to learn because at the end of the day, the goal of experiments, the goal of Lean Startups is learn. So there are three possibilities, three options when we complete experiments. First one is invalidate. My hypothesis is fails, it's not real. In that case, no problem. We need to iterate, to pivot, to change with the lesson learned. Second possibility is, okay, uncertainty again. It's not clear in the experiment. In that case, we need to repeat again the experiment. Maybe because the hypothesis is not right, maybe because the experiment, or the prototype is not perfect, maybe the data is not enough. In that case, we need to repeat the experiment. And the third is validate. The third option is, okay, the hypothesis is true, it's right. In that case, we need to move with the progress. And what is the progress? The progress is customer development. So we validate the problem. In that case, we move to validate the solution. We validate the solution, we validate the problem-solution fit. We validate it, in this case, move to product-market fit. In that case, it's moving for customer discovery, customer validation, customer creation, and moving the process step by step. So that's all. This is a simple approach to create business today, to reduce uncertainty in a very complex statement. But why? Okay, we know what is Lean Startup, but why today? Why today we need Lean Startup in our business? Okay, the answer is very simple. Because uncertainty. Because today, the level of uncertainty that we have is critical. We have extreme uncertainty today because the customer change very quick, very fast about the perception of the value. And with internet and with the connectivity of the people, the information move very fast around the world. So today, the people want one thing, but tomorrow, they want other thing. So this creates a very complex and uncertain environments compared 30 years ago or 40 years ago. In that case, this picture I want to show you that it's very important at the beginning when we have a very high uncertainty level to have a small and simple experiments. As simple as you can. Because a simple experiment gives me knowledge and learnings to reduce uncertainty. And when you reduce your level of uncertainty, in that case, you can improve or incremental the complexity of your experiments. What is the typical mistake of the entrepreneur when they apply lean startup? Simple. They create a very complex experiment at the beginning. Why? Because he really loves to create an MVP like a product. This is the reason that usually the startups spend 3 or 5 months to create the first experiments. No. Your first experiments must to do in 2 weeks. No more. 2 weeks is not 4 months. And this is very important to reduce uncertainty. Why we need lean startup? Because the uncertainty that we have is extremely high. Extremely high. So next question right now maybe is, okay, Néstor, it's very interesting. We know what's a lean startup. We know why lean startup today compared with in the past, 20 years, 30 years ago, because the level of uncertainty in the world is increased and is more complex. But when apply lean startup? Is it necessary in my startup? No. The answer is no. Lean startup is not necessary in all business. We need lean startup if you have uncertainty, if you don't have facts right now. And I want to show you this simple matrix that explain where we need to implement or apply lean startup. Let me show you. It's very simple. Okay, you have, for example, this is your idea. You have existing products in an existing market. For example, let me tell you, a restaurant. Okay, good business. Let me tell you, there are restaurants that is great business, but a restaurant is a business that exists in a market, and the products exist. In that case, the level of uncertainty is less, because we have hundreds of facts. The people want to eat. The people want to eat food. And I have a different menus and plates in my restaurant. So there are hundreds of restaurants in the world. So we have facts in this way. In that case, we need to lean a startup. Not too much. We need to lean a startup when we have uncertainty. And where? Okay, in that case, for example, to have a restaurant, not mean that we have customers in the restaurants. So maybe the hypothesis that we have is not in problem-solution fit. The hypothesis that we have is in product-market fit. Maybe what is the strategy that we need to get customers for my restaurant? And in this topic, in this point, okay, we can apply lean startup. But let me show you other possibility. Okay, we have new products in existing markets. For example, medical device. Okay, the hospital exists. But now, today, I want to create a new product. It's a medical device to do strange things in the hospital, okay? In that case, the market exists, but the product not. It's possible to apply lean startup? Yes, but not too much at the beginning, because in that case, the problem exists, because the hospital exists, and they have needs. In this case, we need to focus on the solution. In this kind of the process, lean startup help us to understand if the problem create real value for the customer. But anyway, it's more important to focus in the product development than in customer development. Other statements, very interesting, is, okay, Néstor, we have existing products in a new market. For example, this kind of situation we call clone markets. For example, Groupon. You remember Groupon in US? Okay, Groupon started the business in US, and one day, come from Spain. Spain was a new market, but the products exist. In that case, the strategy, the goal, is to be the first. It's to be the first. Is possible to apply lean startup? Yes, but not in all process. It's possible to apply lean startup when we have some question or uncertainty, but at the beginning, not too much. But let me show you the fourth statement, is new products in a new market. I can tell you that this is a more extremely uncertain statement for you. We don't know nothing. We don't know if the problem is important. We don't know if the solution solves the problem or create value for the customer. We don't know. No ideas. And in that case is when lean startup is incredibly useful and powerful for the entrepreneurs. Because in that case, we need to implement all process of customer development. In that case, it's more important to understand the problem than to understand the products. And this is real when we need to apply Lean Startup in 100% of the process. But let me tell you one thing. I want to show you that maybe in this part, for this to this, we need to apply Lean Startup. Here, not too much. Here is maybe more. The same here is very similar statements. And here, 100% apply Lean Startup. So now we know when we need to implement the Lean Startup. And let me tell you one thing. Hundreds of entrepreneurs spend time to do interviews to understand why the people want to eat. The people need to eat every day. This is stupid. It's a problem that exists. In that case, please, don't waste time. Focus when we don't know, or focus in the part that we have uncertainty and no certainty and no knowledge, okay? So that's all. That's all. No more than 20 minutes. This is my goal for you, because today we have a very complex situation in the world that there are hundreds of people that talk about Lean Startup. The people read about Lean Startup in internet and videos, and it's very confused. Let me tell you that Lean Startup is simple. It's scientific method. Observation, define hypotheses, do experiments, results, and lesson learned to validate or invalidate our hypotheses. Exist before Lean Startup. Hundreds of years with a scientific method. So this is not new for us, but it's new for entrepreneurs. It's new for startups. So that's all. It's very simple. Lean Startup is approach to create value for the customer, to focus on the customer with 3 columns: business design, customer development, agile development. And it's important because today we have a high uncertainty situation, and it's not necessary to implement Lean Startup in all cases. In all cases. So this is one of the things that we implement today in Spain in hundreds of accelerators. Okay, I'm going to switch in Spanish. Voy a decirlo en español ahora porque estoy acabando y quiero que todos os enteréis de esto. Es una de las cosas que hacemos en la Fundación Caja Rural Castilla-La Mancha con el programa Lazarus. En Lazarus lo que hacemos es implementar y ayudar a los emprendedores a aplicar Lean Startup. Porque como habéis visto, soy capaz de explicar Lean Startup en 20 minutos, pero es bien jodido vivir Lean Startup durante tu vida como emprendedor. Y lo difícil de aplicar Lean Startup es ver cómo diseñas un experimento, cómo identificas una hipótesis, cómo lo implementas. Bueno, en Lazarus lo que hacemos es ayudar a los emprendedores en la aceleradora a poder implementar este tipo de aproximaciones. Y tengo una mala noticia. Lean Startup no es un camino para el éxito, es un camino para fracasar. Pero para fracasar pronto, barato y rápido. Joder, qué bueno es cagarla en 2 semanas y no en 2 años. Y cualquiera que tenga un negocio que haya palmado durante 2 años sabe de lo que estoy hablando, porque qué fácil, joder, es darse cuenta de por qué la hemos cagado cuando la hemos cagado. Ahí es fácil analizarlo todo. Lo difícil es encontrarlo al principio. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Néstor. Muchas gracias. Tenemos un par de minutos para una pregunta. Lo digo en español por si alguien se anima a hacerla en castellano. Allá al fondo, me voy del todo.
So one thing I have a lot of trouble with when applying the Lean Startup at my company is that no one else really gets it. And so it often feels like I'm banging my head against the wall trying to convince everyone else that this is worthwhile use of my time or our time in general. It's always like, we don't care about the value for the customer. We just want revenue now. Just sell it, and then we'll find if it's valuable or not. How do you go about convincing people that it's a worthwhile use of time, running experiments and actually sticking to the methodology instead of just getting distracted by revenue, chasing the customers right away?
Yes, it's very interesting, but one of the most important things about the Lean Startup is exactly the revenue. It's important to know where is the money, and it's not easy. I can tell you one thing, not all good ideas is a good business. And not the idea that sound very good in the paper and in the PowerPoint, at the end of the day, is a great business. I can tell you that thing that there are very poor ideas that at the end of the day is a great business, and at the great ideas at the end of the day is a bad business. So yes, the revenue, the money is the most important, and one of the things that we validate is with experiments is this topic, but it's not easy. Question. What is exactly the metrics to understand if validate or not? What is the best experiment to reduce uncertainty? This is not easy solutions. It's not easy answers. But at the end of the day, one of the most important things is, yes, It's looking for the revenues, understand where's the benefits of the business, because the idea is nothing. At the end of the day, the most important is business. And Lean Startup is great for that.
Thank you very much. We have no time for more questions, but Nestor will be around all the day through, so you can jump over him if you want to keep in talking with him. Thank you, Nestor.
Thank you very much.